We're staying with this issue of personal responsibility for your drinking versus the publican's responsibility. And Rosemary has texted to say that very much she is of the view that personal responsibility must come to the fore. But she adds that in the instance in Thurles, the barmen, in her view, should have contacted the ambulance straight away when the man became unconscious. If that had happened, would he be alive today? Very possibly. All soaps on television are centred on pubs, which appeals to young people. Interesting text, and it's a fair observation, isn't it? Come on, Mr. Bell, says somebody else. Most pubs will keep serving alcohol until you're not able to stand up. And somebody else says that they're totally against drink driving, but they cannot understand what is the point when you go in and you order a pint of Coke and it costs you £5. But if you want a pint of alcohol, it'll cost $4.20. Surely to God, non-alcoholic drink should be cheaper than the real stuff. And Mick McNamara takes one little shot here. He says, who is this woman? The woman that goes on about men, 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 men. She makes me want to puke. She goes, she buys her wine and her gin in the supermarkets and almost bathes in it behind closed doors. Now let's take some calls. Cecilia, good morning.
Hi, how are you, Will?
Very well, thank you. What's your view on this?
Well, my view is, right, as Paul said, it's very hard to keep an eye on everybody, right, in the pub. It's hard to know whether they're drunk, sober, whatever. But where I feel, right, that barman, he had 10 years' experience. Mm-hmm. He was stone cold sober. He should have known not to put 10 shots into a pint glass.
Yeah, but you see, he claimed that he assumed they were going to share all of them. That I'm not sure how many lads were there, but there was a whole group, and that one would take a sip of the pint and then they'd pass it on and so forth.
Well, really, well, now I don't think any responsible adult, you'd know that wasn't going to happen. Like, my point is, that man, it's sad, he died. But had he left the hotel that night, went out, went berserk on the street and killed somebody, stabbed them, done whatever, who was responsible? I mean, he was drunk.
Well, in law, he would be held responsible.
But I think it was up to the barman. As Paul said, you have to keep an eye out. You have to watch. So, right, if he should have put 10 shots into 10 separate glasses, not 10 shots into one pint glass, where he wasn't able, I don't know if he could see what they were doing. But definitely, if he couldn't see what they were doing, he should never, ever have put 10 shots into the one glass. But
Cecilia, where do publicans draw the line at being babysitters? If somebody orders 10 shots in a glass, they are consciously deciding to do that themselves and then knock it back. Is it up to a publican to hold their hand and say, no, you shouldn't do that?
Yeah, I think so. The Republican in this instance, in any instance, is responsible for what happens on his premises. And at least if he put it in 10 glasses, he could honestly say with an open heart, I thought we're all going to have a drink. Well and good if the crowd went down and put it into a pint glass at their table. He's not responsible then. But I think he is if he puts 10 shots into the one glass.
So where should the limit be set then? What about a double shot? Is that okay in a pint glass?
I don't think so. I think it should be one shot in one glass.
And then if you want to mix them, that's up to you.
That's up to you. That's your responsibility then. And if the barman sees you, he can go down and reprimand you. If he doesn't, well, at least you can put your hand in your heart and say, well, that's the way I served it.
And incidentally, what is your view then on if he had gone out on the street, if he had whacked somebody or committed criminal damage, who would be responsible?
Well, that's where I don't know. And, I really don't know. As I say, we all have to take responsibility for our own drinking. Yes, I agree with that. But I think the bar person also has to take responsibility. Not to regulate what you're drinking, but never to put that into your hand, to put you in that situation. You're drunk, to give you 10 shots in a glass so as you can down it.
So that when you're drunk, you have a certain diminished responsibility, or at least diminished capacity to judge when you've had enough. The barman is sober, he or she should make that determination for you.
Should make it. As I say, right, if he went and he bought 10 separate shots, that was his responsibility. The barman didn't know. But the barman knew. He put 10 shots into the one glass, and I think that's where he was wrong.
Okay. Cecilia, thanks for the call. Nice talking to you.
Okay, well, thank you.
God bless. Let's head to Mullingar. Morning, Dan.
Good morning, yes, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Dan. What's your view on this?
Well, my view on this is, first of all, when you go out drinking, you're responsible for your own life. And anyone that drinks 10 shots in a glass, maybe it shouldn't be put into the glass, definitely in 10 them. But anyone that does it, they're not responsible for their own life, which they should be. So you should know how to stop drinking. And the biggest problem with the drinking is the young people are buying the drink in different places. And they're taking it home and getting drunk and getting it out and sitting in the car at 4 o'clock in the morning, in a lot of cases, and killing 4 and 5 people that are in. So the Minister for Justice before brought in about people under 18 has to sell them drink, and they're in the scheme that the guards and then the individual under 18 into the off licence or anywhere, see, anywhere at all, see will he be served with drink. That's ludicrous stuff. It doesn't work. The 19-year-old can go in and buy as much drink as they want. I see them coming out of different places with as much drink, and like they're drinking at home. So like the thing is, have one drinking place where it always was, and that was the pub. And there's a pub served, the Publican served the drink from the pub. There's no one in the pubs that are drinking at home, and there's on about it there, and they're going out then late at night and getting 2 or 3 drinks in the bar.
Yeah, sure. So would you shut down the off trade altogether, Dan?
I would, yes. Like I'm not supposed to mention this, some of the places, but the places
well, no, please don't mention specific places.
Should not be selling drink. So they should be closed down. There's no other answer to this.
Yeah, but you see,
yes.
If you're an adult, and a mature adult, and you want to have a bottle of wine at home, and you're not going to drink to excess, you want to be able to buy that in an off licence, presumably.
Well, sell the wine, just nothing else.
But what if you enjoy and you're able to drink a bottle of vodka in a mature fashion at home, or you know, you only have a little bit of time?
Buy it in the bar, let the bar sell it, and let them bring down their prices in the bar, and let most people then will go into the bar to drink, where there's no one going to drink in the bars now.
Okay, it's an interesting suggestion, Dan.
Well, the only suggestion, nothing else works. Like just bringing in a law that an under 18 that will go into the office and that the guard checks who would be served drink. That doesn't work. Like anyone wouldn't bring that law. Just doesn't work. And the people that brought it in know it doesn't work. And the road safety authority are on about all this. But why don't I do something about it?
All right, Dan, thanks for the call.
Yeah, bye-bye now.
0818 300 103 is our telephone number. Rosemary, good morning.
Good morning.
Personal responsibility, Rosemary?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We all have to take responsibility for our actions. And if you drink too much, you have to be responsible for what you do. But at the same time, as I had said in my text earlier, I feel there was liability on the bar people and the night porter, that when that man was unconscious, they should have called an ambulance or a doctor.
Yes, and perhaps then with early medical intervention, his death could have been prevented.
Somebody obviously knew he was unconscious enough that he needed to be put on his side in a coma position. So obviously somebody had some first aid knowledge. Now, I mean, they should have had enough knowledge to know if he was unrousable, he needed some sort of medical intervention.
Well, at the moment, nobody is being held responsible other than him. Ultimately, he's paid the ultimate price. The view from the state is that, well, the state failed to prove that his excess drinking led to his death.
Yeah,
so that's really all we can say.
The state probably prosecuted the wrong action. I think, to be honest, the action they should have prosecuted was the negligence in not calling medical help, rather than the fact that the harm was done in serving the drink. And I mean, they could say, right, that the others were going to share the drink, but that they didn't know he was going to drink the 10 shots. But
what's your impression of the publicans generally in their approach to serving too much alcohol? Are they happy, in your view, to give drink at the bar, let a person carry it back to a table and disperse it whatever way they want? Or are they actively trying to make sure that every person in their premises is within reason, not getting too drunk?
Look, the way it is with publicans, if they get somebody that is very, very drunk, they're causing hassle for everybody else.
I mean, I've had occasions where people have been obnoxiously drunk and I've just got up and left the premises. Most responsible publicans don't want to be in that position where their good customers are leaving because of somebody that has fallen around the place drunk. So they will be responsible and they won't give out drink to somebody that they consider too drunk. And the vast majority of them, they want to keep their custom. They don't want bad reputations of people going out drunk, getting into cars and crashing them. It ultimately comes back at their door.
No, but at the same time, and look, I'm no saint, Rosemary, and until recently I was a pretty heavy drinker. Now, not insofar as I would drink every night, but when I did at the weekend, I really went for it.
Yeah.
I can never recall a publican turning around and saying, sorry, Will, you've had too much.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you any more.
At the same time, Will, have you ever gone into a pub and broken the place up?
I haven't gone that far, but I have done things that I wouldn't be proud of.
Or, you know, I mean, it depends on the person. You've got to judge. And I mean, most of the country publicans would know their clientele.
Yeah, but there's a different dynamic there, Rosemary. It's a very quiet pub and you can probably watch the place.
On weekends in particular, it can be fairly hectic. You know, I mean, our local, and I won't mention names, would have up to 200 people at a weekend because they have an after-hours entertainment.
Right. Okay, well, that would be a challenge to watch everybody.
I have very seldom seen any incident in that area. Very seldom.
And why do you think
quickly dealt with.
Why do you think some pubs are under control and others aren't?
Sometimes it's lack of staff. Sometimes, as the other man said, you're knee deep at the bar. It depends on the kind of people. I mean, a lot of these party pubs can get out of control. We have to change our mindset with regard to drinking. I mean, I'd be of a generation where we went out and we had very little money to drink, so you'd have a couple of drinks and that was it. And you drank more to loosen up, and as you know, and the entertainment was the big thing, and the music or whatever, or the chat.
You see, I'm from a generation where the fun only started when you got drunk.
Yeah, but you see, this is where we need to change our mindset. We need to go back to the idea that, okay, you can have a few drinks, but that the main idea is to go out and have a good night's entertainment or a good chat, catch up with your friends or whatever, not to go out and, as you say, get hammered. Now, I've reared a girl here who's a young adult, and I hope taught her how to drink properly. And she has a group of friends and they all go out together, and there's always one person in the group that's a designated carer for the rest of them and keeps an eye on everybody else. I don't envy that person. And I mean, as often as not, it's my daughter, because she doesn't particularly like drinking. But I mean, in fairness to the group that she goes out with, both male and female, they go out to enjoy themselves, not to get hammered.
Yeah, that's if they're in that group and they're of that mindset, that's great. But there are people, and you feel sorry for them. You see them trying their best, trying to babysit a whole group of others. And it's usually lads, actually, truth be told. And it's the girl who has to look after them.
To be honest, I think this starts at home, where the parents have to educate. I mean, where the young lad or the young girl has to be taken out by their parents and shown how to drink. You know, and I mean, unfortunately... Does that not wear off, though, Rosemary, the moment that they meet their friends and they're out alone? Well, you can take the horse to water. You know, I mean, you can only show them the right thing. After that, it's up to themselves. But, again, it's down to personal responsibility. All right, and on that note, we'll draw a line under it. Rosemary, thank you very much for the call this morning. Okay, bye-bye. That's where we're going to leave that item for today, because we have a lot to get through this morning, including the Eurovision. Excuse me, need a drink, a non-alcoholic one, by the way. What is your assessment of Jedward's performance last night, and also the rivals and the possible threats? Who really impressed you? Who do you think could be a danger to Jedward in the overall competition tomorrow night? Let me know.
He bent down on one knee and asked the question she'd been longing to hear.
Midlands Today on Midlands 103, with thanks to the luxurious selection of engagement rings at Jerry Brand Jewellers Portlaoise, where love stories begin.
Nissan Scrappage. Here's how it works. Everyone else talks about scrappage and savings, then when you dig deeper, there's always more to pay. But not with Nissan's Real Deal discount. No tricks, no hidden charges, no extra costs. We pay them for you. That's the Nissan Real Deal discount. So when we quote amazing drive-away prices on Pixo, Micra and Juke, it's the real price. Straight up, there's no more to pay. And very few terms and conditions. Check it out at your local Nissan dealer or nissan.ie. But remember, the Real Deal discount is available only till the end of June. Nissan Scrappage. Real deals, real discounts.
Drop in to Mount Mellick Nissan to see the entire Nissan range. Visit mountmellick-nissan.com or call 05786 79200.
Right now, with the Tesco Club Card Voucher Exchange, every €5 of Club Card vouchers gets doubled to €10. That's double the value to spend on clothing, fresh flowers and plants, frozen foods, sun care or baby and toddler. So double up today with the Tesco Club Card Voucher Exchange. Terms apply. See in store or online for details. Excludes express stores. Tesco. Every little helps.
Galvin for Ladies Tullamore, mid-May sale for 10 days only. 20 to 40% off and many amazing offers. Now at Galvin for Ladies Tullamore.
Rehab are looking for swimmers to do something wonderful. As part of One Day for Rehab, we're asking you to complete a 1K sponsored swim at your local pool. You don't have to be the world's best swimmer. You can do it as part of a team. Register online at onedayforrehab.ie. If you're not a swimmer, you can always cheer on and, of course, sponsor the swimmers. So dive in or splash out. Swim 1K for Rehab. Do something wonderful.
If you've got a comment, call Will now on 0818 300 103.
0818 300 103.
Or text us 083 3010 103. The Midlands Today Show with Will Faulkner.
A few texts to wrap up on this drinking issue. Michael McDermott says on many occasions he has witnessed Paul Bell and his staff in the brewery tap refuse people who had too much when they enter, and if other pubs were as well run, it might help the situation. Mag says even though the barmen were not found guilty in the case in Thurles, they have to live with the death of that man on their conscience.